This gold price prediction for 2021 is absolutely insane. But is it possible? There was a recent interview on Kitco with Chris Vermeulen from Technical Traders. He happens to be somebody that was on my show a couple months back where we talked about silver and gold and where we thought it was heading for the remainder of 2020 and where it could possibly go for 2021. So let's just take a look here.
Let's pull up a gold chart, another commodity or an asset class that has moved dramatically, except in the opposite direction of stocks. So if you take a look at what happened in the last just 2 weeks, dramatic move upwards from, people were losing hope a while ago, but now it's bounced back.
Yeah, exactly. People were definitely losing hope. You and I talked, actually, this is the monthly chart, but you and I talked as gold was free falling towards this 1810, 18 mark.
Yeah.
And there was panic that day when you and I were talking about this.
And one thing to point out, when these panic sell-offs happen, again, even though the spot price of silver and gold is fluctuating, again, that does not really represent what the prices are of physical silver and gold. That's very important for people within the stacking community to keep in mind.
So I said, this is what we want. We want panic. This pullback is actually a measured move down to this area. It's very bullish that people are panicking at a major support level. And since then, we've seen this huge move to the upside. This monthly chart really shows the 2011 highs, the multi-year base, how we broke out of it in 2019. We've had a rally, a pullback, another rally, and a pullback. And this is primed and ready. If we were to squish this chart down, gold is primed and ready to go all the way up to potentially the $2,400 level.
Okay, so, we've heard a lot of price predictions. We've heard $3,000, $5,000, even $10,000 gold on various YouTube channels and people that are interviewed on Kitco and what have you. $2,400 to me is not really out of the realm of possibility. When you factor in the fact that we've seen gold hit all-time highs last year, and we are now starting to head in that direction again, where the prices of gold are steadily moving upward, $2,400 doesn't really seem to be really out of that realm of possibility.
From here. So there's a lot of explosive power built up in gold. And I really like the way things are setting up for this.
$2,400. Is that expected this year or next year? What's the timeline on this?
Based on this chart pattern, it would be definitely probably the first half of this year or mid this year, I would think. That's just based on this pattern. Now, if for some reason gold pulls back from where it is and consolidates in a much larger flag, that's going to delay things, but it's also going to build more power for when it does break out down the road. So at this point, we're looking at mid this year, 2,400 in gold.
Okay, so Chris is very adamant on the fact that he's seeing $2,400 gold. Now, please keep in mind that one thing is, again, nobody really has a crystal ball, okay? Chris, who's very good at what he does, he has all the different charts and he analyzes this stuff on a daily basis. This is what the guy does. $2,400 gold doesn't seem to be out of the realm of possibility. The one thing that you do want to keep in mind, though, when you are taking these predictions into mind and basically deciding whether or not to make your purchases, just remember that, number one, again, nobody has a crystal ball. They don't know for sure what's going to happen. And number two, there could be anything that could happen in current events that can really kind of change the trajectory of these prices, right? We saw it happen back in March when COVID was really kind of getting into full swing and was kind of starting up. We saw major panic sell-offs and the price just plummeted. So we really do not know what's going to happen this year that can affect the price. However, being that all things kind of right now are the way that they are, it's looking like that $2,400 gold is going to be where we're headed for the middle of 2021.
You mentioned that the equities markets, the broad market, could see a pullback as well. Would that bring down gold like it did this year?
It would, yeah. And that would be the whole thing. So if the stock market does have a sharp correction, we're probably going to see gold pull back.
That's exactly kind of what I just said, right? If there is a big pullback in the stock market, you're going to see gold fall also. In the beginning of this interview, Chris and David Lynn were talking about the fact that gold is actually not a hedge against the stock market. Some people tend to think that it is, and it isn't. Gold is a hedge against inflation, and it's also kind of something that you should look at as a type of insurance in the event that maybe there's some sort of economic collapse. That's when you would probably want to have your precious metals because they store value and wealth in them. It's been something that has been coveted by man for thousands of years. But gold as a hedge against the stock market, we have seen that it actually kind of trades in tandem with the stock market. So as the prices drop, so will gold
continue to flag sideways in this bullish pattern. And then eventually when the conditions are good and it can overpower the selling pressure, we'll see gold really take off and start to extend to the upside.
A common question I've been getting from people I know is when a good time is to get into gold. Should you be waiting for pullbacks or should you just buy now and hold? Because I guess what you're saying applies to any asset class, right? It's going to pull back and then consolidate, move back up. But if you keep waiting for pullbacks, you're never going to get in.
Right. It really depends on the type of trader or investor you are. If you're an investor, you should be buying these pullbacks like to 1800 when people are panicking and it's pulled back into a support level like this 1800 level across the chart. If you look across here, I mean, it was the high in 2012. We had a bunch of monthly highs and then it traded through it 2 days. I mean, it is a prime candidate for it broke above to new highs and then it pulled back to support. I mean, it's a prime condition. So investors should be buying and holding gold long term.
So this is important too. A lot of people feel like gold is priced too high right now. They can't buy any. They shouldn't buy any. You really, my philosophy is that you should always try to buy some gold when possible, regardless of the price. I think you should factor into your budget exactly how much you can afford in a total dollar amount, and then just try to allocate those dollars to gold. Not necessarily say, oh, I can't afford the 1 ounce, therefore I'm not going to, buy any or what have you. You should definitely buy some. If you are almost like a trader, kind of like Chris here, which a lot of in the stacking community were not. But if you are one of those individuals that's kind of looking to make a quick buck, gold and silver isn't really the way to do it unless you are an equities trader, commodities trader, I should say. But you definitely want to make sure that you are buying gold and holding it. This is a long-term holding asset. This is something that you are preserving your wealth in. It's not something that you're just buying and then hopefully in like 5, 6, 7 years, you're going to just flip it for a profit. That's not what we do in the stacking community.
When you look at a short-term trader, if we were to flip to the daily chart, it's a bit different of a view. Here is the March crash on the left. And then we had the rally, a consolidation, a huge rally, and now a bigger consolidation. And price is just starting to break out from these highs of this pattern. If you look here this week, it just broke above this falling trend line. So it's a clean break, but we're still struggling with this high that we saw back in November. And gold miners are definitely lagging. If we look at silver and silver miners, it's a much more bullish and exciting picture than gold itself, actually.
Yeah.
All right, and that's another thing. I've had a bunch of junior mining companies on my show talking about their companies and the performance of their stock. They're bullish, obviously, because it is their business, but you are seeing more people starting to kind of get on board with the mining companies, and they are starting to see more upside potential for those mining companies.
I'm gonna get a little philosophical now. So the
silly David Lynn getting all nutty.
The notion that we should be holding gold long term. Okay, I hear that from basically everybody I talk to.
Darn straight.
Can we pull up a long-term gold chart again?
Oh, he better not be debunking what we're all believing here in the stacking community. Don't do it, David.
Just take a look at the last 10 years, going back to 2011. So the last time gold reached a high, Chris, was 2011.
Yep.
And then it just kind of flatlined for 10 years. Not 10, but 8, 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
The notion that we should be holding it during that time, by the way, the S&P 500 out.
Yeah, but David Lynn, look at 2003. Come on now. Look how low it was back then.
Perform gold by a significant margin over the over that 9-year period. So the notion that gold is a store of value over the long term, really, the definition is inconsistent at best, isn't it?
It is. I mean, if you actually want to really beat the market and do really well, you need to use technical analysis to block in these topping patterns.
See, and this is where they're saying if you want to lock into the value of gold and kind of capitalize on it, right? You hold it, sell it at the top, and then, you know, when it drops down, buy low, sell high.
I mean, once you see these huge parabolic spikes and price starts to consolidate, whichever way it breaks from there is going to be a very big move, at least the distance of this box. If we were to look at the price action where gold is right now, we've had this parabolic spike, we've had this pullback. For all we know, gold's already put in a top. Nobody knows until it's done, right? But we're in this big range right now that maybe it's over. Maybe it's going to chop around here. Maybe it's going to break down and consolidate for several more years. We really don't know. The thing is, the long-term chart is still pointing to higher prices at this point. The falling currencies are going to help with this. I mean, we're in a major new commodity cycle, like a 15-year commodity cycle. And everyone has been into equities and homes, and commodities are the most undervalued kind of asset class. So there's a lot of things pointing to much higher prices, but we really do need to see which way gold breaks from this pattern. If it breaks to the upside, it's going to run to 2,400 very quickly.
All right. Well, there you have it, right? Again, the $2,400 prediction for 2021 for gold. I will be doing, like I said, a follow-up video to this talking about cryptocurrencies and specific Bitcoin. So you're definitely going to want to tune into that. Comment down below. Do you think $2,400 gold is feasible? Let us know if you think, yes, we're going to hit $2,400 gold, or do you think we are going to see a pullback like we did in March and maybe something kind of back down in like this range here? Comment down below and let us know. And I just want to quickly thank these elite channel supporters. And if you haven't become a channel member, please check out the awesome perks and join today. With that, I'm the Stacking Stormtrooper. Check out these videos. Until next time, long live the Empire.